Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is Nasir Qureshi, a realtor daddy. I'm a real estate agent licensed in Texas. I'm with Texas Signature Realty Brokerage. And what we do is tonight, this is a show that we do Wisdom Wednesday, every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We give value to real estate professionals and others who might be interested. Um, and we bring an expert from an industry that touches and involves a real estate industry somehow, and we ask them questions and we learn from that expert. And tonight with us we have Mr. John, who is with Elite Credit Company, and he's our special guest, and we're going to ask him questions and learn from him about credit. And credit is very important in the real estate industry. So, welcome, Mr. John. Thank you for your time and being with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the invite.
Fantastic. So, could you help me with the right name of your company, please?
Yeah, I'm the owner of Elite Credit Solutions. We're based in Tampa, Florida. We serve the entire United States
Okay,
and
fantastic.
just started our 15th year. So we've been in the business a long time.
Wow, wow, wow. So fortunate to have you. Once I met you online, and I knew that you have a lot of experience in the industry, and thank you for taking my request to be on the show. So,
Thank you.
where are you originally from?
Originally from a small town in Indiana called Fairmount. Uh,
Okay,
been in uh, been in Florida since '93.
okay, I see, I see. So, how did you get involved in the credit repair and restoration industry?
I have been a number of years in the call center business. I don't know, 24 years in management, primarily major call centers. So I've launched like T-Mobile and a couple of mega centers for T-Mobile, Verizon, GTE. And I reached a time where I was starting to lose my hearing. So I kind of had to walk away from that industry.
I
And
see.
so a friend of mine from back home actually lived here locally, and I went to meet her for coffee, and she had said that she was swamped and she needed some help. And I was kind of in a position here locally that I talked to her about working with her. And about a month and a half after we got started, she told me she uh, had some medical issues and she was going to have to close down the company. And so I formed my own company and ran with it, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow, what a great story. So, is credit having a good credit important?
I would say outside of well, I often say outside of oxygen. Outside of oxygen, you have to have the money or the income and the credit. And I think there's a partnership. There should be a partnership. I certainly value the partnership we have with various industries, whether that be real estate or mortgage, solar business, anybody that's got a credit requirement in their business, we should be working together so we can help more people to achieve that dream.
Right. Hi, Carol. Welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Hi, Carol.
Good.
Hi
So
there.
good. Fantastic. Good to have you always. Um, so anything that requires credit, and a lot of things require credit, right? So what are
Yes.
I know real estate does. What other companies that you think that are the like primarily, we cannot name all of them, but what are the primary requirements, the different industry that require people to have good credit?
I I work a lot with solar
Hmm.
groups. Primarily in the past has been door to door. So they're spending an hour, hour and a half with the customer, and then they can't qualify them for the solar product, and their credit requirements are pretty close to what a realtor's running into. And my point to them is they could just tell them that they don't qualify, but they've already spent the time to educate them on the importance of solar. So
Hmm.
why not, rather than saying no, saying I can't help you today, but I can work with you and we can achieve that dream in a short amount of time. I
Hmm.
don't think any of us should ever be saying flat out no. They own your business card and that you've established that relationship. And by you just saying I can't help you, they're not going to come back to you because you haven't offered them any assistance. I think first and foremost we're in the people business. We got to help them to achieve their goals, even if
Hmm.
that's an introduction. And I'll work hard representing you, and I'll do what I can to bring them back to you when they're ready, and stay in communication with you so that we can bridge that gap with any requirements that they need to get into the home.
Hmm. Let's start with this. Let's start like this. Um, and my panelists, please feel free to uh, indicate on the screen that if you have questions. This is like open mic session. I like to do this very comfortable, casual. You guys, whenever you have any questions to Mr. John, feel free to ask questions. Okay, anytime, no problem. So, Mr. John, let's start this way. For an average person that who is listening or in the future will watch this on YouTube, um, what uh, an average person and how that person gets into having a bad credit. Like, what shall we do in your experience to not to have a bad credit? Let's try to avoid the problem first.
I th- I think some people, I mean, there's obviously an equation to what equals what, how to build a FICO score. But in 15 years, I could tell you some actions that are very common with people with bad credit. And I don't mean that to be a negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Procrastination is
Mm-hmm.
one, somebody that can't communicate. Um, I often joke if I was going to buy a leads list, I would like a leads list of everybody that doesn't have a recording on their voicemail, doesn't check their voicemail. Surprisingly, a lot of those are tied to credit. So there's actions that you have in your everyday life that take it there. But I don't want that to be a negative one because everybody has their own preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can honestly say in 15 years, nobody's ever come in my office and said, John, I just didn't feel like paying my bills anymore, so I stopped paying them. I think we generally try to do the right thing. Um, we try to do the right thing, and then things happen. We lose a job. We have a heart attack and have to go to the hospital. These things happen. And I tell people the only way you can lose is to do nothing. Um, for a lot of those things on a credit report, you have to wait 7 to 10 years for them to drop off. And I just turned 59 years old. I'm not waiting on anything. And that's really the reason you do credit repair. In a short amount of time, we can work on getting some of those things deleted and updated, which in turn will raise your scores. And you can go on and consider things like your house. Maybe you're in your 20s or 30s and you're wanting a house for you and your family. Um, I would tell you we're going through times where it's easier to buy a house than it is an apartment. I don't know why somebody would continue to rent in an apartment when a little bit of work they could own a house. Here locally, 2 or 3 years in a row, the rental has gone up 40%.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my old 4 bedroom house in Carrollwood, counting my mortgage, I used to be at a $1,200 mortgage. Um, I stayed in an apartment for a short amount of time. It was just a small studio for $1,400,
Hmm.
and you only had room for a chair and a table. And I'm like, that sadly these people have two or three kids and they're sharing beds and everything else. If not for yourself, do it for your family.
Correct.
I,
Correct.
if I could just share one more,
Absolutely. This is your show, sir. You're the special guest.
I had a guy call me, um, maybe about 2 months ago. I originally talked to him about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And for some reason we just didn't connect. He wanted credit repair. I just couldn't get him to sign up. And I finally gave up after so many calls, not returning calls. And I said, well, I guess he just, can't tell me he doesn't want to do it. And so he called me and he says, I got to fix my credit. And I asked him, I said, just educate me a little bit. I said, because this is all I do. I said, tell me why you didn't sign up with me for 3 years ago. Because I said, quite honestly, you could have been in a house, you could have done all these things 3 years ago. And he said, I just wasn't in a good place. And, you laid everything out, told me exactly what I had to do. And he said, I just wasn't ready to take on that goal. So they have to be mentally ready to take on those goals. You may view their picture and say, "Oh, I could have you in a house," but if in their heart they don't see themselves in that house, then maybe they're not ready. Um, and so now we're working together, and you might find it unique that he also three-wayed me his fiance.
Hmm.
She was on the phone with the phone call, and she said, and he said, "We're getting married," and she's told me we're gonna buy a house, we're gonna have kids, and I said, since I've got your fiance on the line, I want to give you some advice, man to man. And he said, "What's that?" And I said, "Your fiance has already told you she wants a house." And I said, whether you realize it or not, she's already driven to the house.
Hmm.
She can tell you what the house looks like. In my case, my ex-wife, driving past the house every day, she just had to educate me on that I needed to buy a house. And so I told him, I said, guys aren't that picky. We can sit on the couch and we got a place to eat our TV dinners and we're pretty happy. But I said, if your fiance told you you're buying a house, you're buying a house, just so you know. So I said, you got to work with me, do everything I tell you. And I said, I'll get you to that goal. But I was kind of giving him some fatherly advice. I'm like, don't
Right.
horse around. We should have fixed your credit 3 years ago. But your fiance just told you you're getting a house. So, if you plan on marrying her, you're buying that house. So sometimes that decision's coming from the wife or whoever,
External
or
factors. Yeah. We have
yeah,
a
or
request.
they got two or three kids. They should logically see that. Go
We
ahead.
have, yeah, someone asked a question to ask you this question.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the question for you is, how long bad credits stay in your record? 5 or 7 years? How
It
long
depends on the
bad credits stay in your record? 5 or 7 years?
it depends on what it is. I say generically 7 to 10 years. Most things are 7 years,
Hmm.
but an example of 10 years might be like a Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
Hmm.
But I think everybody here is a realtor. Is that correct?
I'm a realtor. There's another real estate agent on this panel. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know these ladies if they're realtors also.
Yeah.
So,
There's realtor Jay here, and Miss Carol. She does coaching and different things. Yes.
okay. So even the worst case scenario, they tell you they filed bankruptcy. Even though I'm telling you it's not going to come off the record for 10 years, don't dismiss their goals because I'm not sure what the recent rule is, but used to be about 3 years, they could talk to you about a house.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can work on getting that bankruptcy deleted. I've had probably 35 bankruptcies deleted through the years.
Mm-hmm.
So anything, no matter what's on that report, we can address.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard the phrase innocent until proven guilty. It's the same
Yeah.
as credit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just, and there's a lot of errors on bankruptcy. So it's important, even just as a realtor, even
Mm-hmm.
don't say, oh, you filed bankruptcy, you can't, you're not going to be available to buy a house for a long time. Reality is maybe that bankruptcy's 3 years old, and you can start talking to them. Mortgage brokers know about bankruptcies.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I'm not necessarily telling you 10 years. If we get that deleted, you can have that conversation today about, working on getting the house.
Okay, so am I understanding you correctly that if the bankruptcy is 3 years old, then we can talk to them about buying the house, or week is eligible to be deleted? What is that 3 years
I,
window after having the bankruptcy? Can you
I think that's,
elaborate on that timeline of 3 years? Bankruptcy is 3 years old. Can you blow that up a little bit?
yeah, a lot of I'm sure you probably have a mortgage broker you work with or a
Yeah,
team.
yeah,
You
several, yeah.
want, yeah, you just really want to ask them how old's the bankruptcy got to be before you can move forward.
Hmm.
But for years now, it's been roughly about 3 years.
Okay.
And that they could take an application even if somebody's had a bankruptcy. Even if I don't get it deleted, they can submit that application and say they had a bankruptcy 3 years,
Hmm.
and the lender's going to accept them.
Okay.
The only thing that's changed through the years, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is in the olden days you'd take them in your van around the neighborhood and show them houses all day long and say, this is a nice house, this is a nice house. And then you go fill the paperwork out. But we got wise through the years that maybe they don't qualify
Yeah.
for the thing. So now you guys don't spend all day on Saturday and Sunday taking around your van until you took that application to see if,
Yeah.
can we even talk about a house before I show you all
Correct.
these houses?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's really changed through the years.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, for the real estate agents, yeah, we have to oh, protect our time just like anyone else, how we going
Yeah.
to spend the time. We need to find out, pre-screen the person, the readiness and things like this. Are they really ready, or they're just what I call it window shopping, like the rapper 50 Cents. Now he lives in Houston, a window shopper, right? And
Yeah.
and then do they really qualify? You can't just knock on some of the listings, on the seller side, that they don't even let you see the house if there's a not backed up by a pre-qualification letter, you know.
Hmm.
So everybody's time is important. So okay, so now I'm
So I think the
go ahead.
basis of everything what we're talking about is don't disqualify somebody that wants to buy a house.
Right, right.
Because even no matter what if they say, oh yeah, I lost my job last year, whatever. Because you got two scenarios. Either you say, no, I can't help you, or I can't help you today, but I work with a team that can help. We can work together to get you in that house if you really want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I personally, as a realtor, I would never tell somebody no.
I don't personally. In fact, I am known, like my clients and many people, to be a patient. And I'm not beating my own drums and trying to look good, but I'm patient. I believe in second chances, third chances, and
Hmm.
things like
Yep.
that. And I work with clients. I mean, there are some people that I'm working with them for 6, 7 months, and they're working on themselves, providing they're coachable, you know. So
Yeah.
if they're not coachable, then no one can help them, right? But to me, if they're showing that they're accountable, they are taking some proper steps that I'm recommending them, suggesting them, they're serious, they are they're serious about buying the house, and they are serious about taking steps for off the preparation towards
Hmm.
buying the house. Yes, who will not like people like that? I do, you know.
Hmm.
But I personally am not that type of realtor that I'm waiting for somebody to come from the heavens and say, okay, here I am with 800 credit score, $20,000 down payment on my left hand, and I need a realtor. Let's go look for the houses. I'm not that kind of realtor.
I I agree. And
Now,
I understand we're all trying to make money,
yeah,
I get off the phone and I'm thinking, I really need the person to sign up today.
yeah,
But and you're the same person as you need to them to buy the house today, but there's no harm in you've heard of Johnny Appleseed. There's no harm in planting that seed knowing it's going to sprout a couple of months from now.
right. Now, I'm most people are familiar with annualcreditreport.com, right? The
Yeah,
only backed up, as they claim it, the only backed up website free that is supported by the US federal government, right?
yeah.
In your professional opinion, what else an average person, where else, or are there any other secure places to check their credit?
Mhm. So what you just mentioned, annualcreditreport.com, up until COVID, you could order your reports, all three reports once a year. And
Mm-hmm.
then COVID, kind of educated us and said, hey, I think they need the credit report a little bit more often. And they most recently, I think you can order it once a month. Now, I think they passed the thing. The disadvantage to you doing that, yeah, that's the most accurate data. But the disadvantage of doing that is you're not going to see the score on any of those reports. Yeah, you have to buy the score in those terms. All of my customers, I send them to Experian.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a shortcut. You go to creditchecktotal.com, and it's
Mm-hmm.
owned by Experian. Get them to pay the dollar, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not hurting their credit by pulling their own credit.
Could you repeat
Because
that
we're
website again? I'm
Yeah,
writing it
yeah,
myself right now.
the shortcut is creditchecktotal.com. Creditchecktotal.com.
Creditchecktotal.com. Creditchecktotal.com. It's just going to
Yes.
require them $1. Okay.
Yeah, it gives you a discount.
And it's by
I
Experian and
like
it
that
is
somebody.
secure, right?
Yes. Well, it's owned by Experian. And
Okay.
so you go in, they're going to ask you some questions, enter your profile information, some questions to make sure it's you. And then you're going to get their premium membership for like 7 days. It's the same thing as if you went to Experian and upgraded. If you already have an Experian account, you don't go to Credit Check Total. You just go to Experian and upgrade it.
Okay.
There's a fault in the system that every time you go in, you're gonna get 7 free days to look at all
Hmm.
three reports. And in case you missed what I said a minute ago, it's not hurting your credit to go in. It's not hurting their credit
Credit
to
to
go
check
in
it. Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so and your mortgage brokers that you're working with is going to give you a little bit of pushback because they're they're using a tri-merge system and it costs them quite a bit of money. So that they're going to want to kind of know, is this person basically qualified before they spend the money to go through all the process of pulling that credit. So I would in the initial conversation have them go to either Credit Check Total or Experian, um, look at all three reports, and then the, that's you can go over 1,000 places to get your credit score. I personally think if credit's so important, you ought to have your smartphone. Everybody ought to know their score, and you
Hmm.
shouldn't have. There's actually 55 different variations of the FICO score. The
Hmm.
system's obviously set up for us to be confused and not necessarily always know where to go, sadly. So if you send your customer to either Experian or Credit Check Total, have them upgrade to the premium. You can look at all three credit reports with them, get the score. You can look at the data and see do they have the bankruptcy or do they have past foreclosure. Another reason you might want to look at that if they've let's say they had a past mortgage in the past year
So
and they've had a
you're,
couple
let me
late
interrupt you. So you're recommending for the real estate agent to do that for a prospect with
yeah,
consent. Yeah.
or have them to go and say, let's have a
Okay.
conversation. Go ahead and pull it. If
Okay.
somebody signs up with me for credit repair, this is exactly what I use because the bureaus no longer send the bulk mail the way they did before COVID. So
Hmm.
this is how I'm able to work with them and I can monitor the progress working through this experience. Plus, you as a realtor sending your client, you don't want to send them in and find out later they had a 450 score and they're not going to buy a house.
Right.
You send your mortgage guy or lady that person with 450 a couple times, they're probably not going to want to work with you. So
Yeah.
you know, it like me, I don't if I'm sending someone to a mortgage broker that's mortgage ready and they've worked with me, I don't want them going to some other fly by night um app or whatever and thinking they've got six and I know this happens every day. um, they'll go see a mortgage broker, take the application, and they say, sir, you have, 500 credit score, and this person thinks that they qualify for a house up to that moment. So, out of embarrassment of your customer and yourself, make sure that they're at least pretty close to ready. I know I work with a mortgage broker over in Newport Richey very consistently. And keep in mind the systems that the mortgage people use are also third-party applications.
Hmm.
But that's also who's qualifying them for a house. So whether it's right or wrong, that's the indicator that we're working towards. But I'd rather send my customer to the mortgage person saying, I think they're 640, they're in the neighborhood, we can have that conversation. And then they go there and they're, 680. That's a good
Right.
thing. So
Okay.
I just don't want them walking in there with a 400 and they say, this credit repair guy said he had them already. And you don't want to be that person either. You don't want to send them and say, oh, I spent all day on somebody, took an application, they're ready to go. And then they say, no, they got a 400, 450 credit score. So you could go out on a Saturday, just any consumer, and you could apply for whatever. You go get a bank account. You could apply for a credit card. You get a loan for a car. You could apply for a house. You could do any of those things, and you're going to have a different credit score from every one of them because it's a different calculation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this calculation, insurance industry has its own calculation.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the mortgage people have their own calculation. Lord of mercy. And you said 55 different versions of FICO? Wow.
yeah, yeah. So a bank, meaning a bank's getting a sheet that says, "Here's all your FICOs." Now, uh, hey, I'm gonna give you all kinds of information. um, so your 55 different variations of the FICO score, meaning, um, whatever, if they get a card or they get a credit card or open a bank account, there's a requirement. Um, Up until last year, most of your mortgage companies were using something called FICO 8. And I know that for a fact because if yeah, most of these credit things that you sign up for. That's the top score. If you look what FICO it is, it's FICO 8. But last year, Fannie and Freddie, make sure I'm saying that right.
Yes.
Fannie and Freddie sent a note to the mortgage people and said it's time to upgrade your computers. They're told to upgrade their computers to something called FICO 10T,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be a completely different score than what your FICO 8 is. So you may
Okay.
send them thinking that's what I thought I had was FICO 8, and they go in there and they get a 10T. Um, Now I'm gonna tell you what the difference is. Everybody's credit cards have to be below 30%.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is
Utilization, yeah.
yeah, below 30% utilization.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means in simple terms, at the top of your statement, it says from this date to this date. Let's just say it says April 1st to April 30th. April 30th is that picture that goes to the credit bureaus. No matter what is on that credit card, that's the picture that gets sent to the bureaus. And you got a couple different kinds of people. You got people most Americans right now, they're living on their credit card. So they're maxed out. They've got 90%, but some of these people have 120% of credit cards. They're way over. Um, so there it's directly tied to the FICO score. So if you're high on utilization, you're low on FICO score. They may not necessarily have a bad credit file, but they're maxed out on a credit card. So
Right.
you're not seeing a true picture. Um, that credit utilization is so powerful. Not only is it pressing down the FICO score, but let me give you another example. Let's say they're trying to make a car payment, and that car payment is worth, we'll just say 20 points, and they make
Mm-hmm.
that payment on time for 20 points. The credit system's built so that they say, yeah, they did make the payment on time, but their credit utilization's too high. So they're not good with their credit. So we're not going to give them that 20 points. We might only give them 10 points. Um, let's just say I'll give you a third example. I'm working with them on credit repair and I get a deletion. I know if a collection item can be 60 to 80 points, but if they're 100% high on their credit utilization, they may never know I got the deletion. You
Mm-hmm.
they're calling me, why is my credit still in the basement? And then everybody that calls me is from the mindset, maybe existing customers, saying, John, I'm kind of concerned we're in the second round. I'm not, seeing drastic improvement. And the first question I go is, tell me about your credit cards. Because if they're maxed out like everybody else's, that's why they don't even know that I got deletions in the first round. So I'm going to coach them on how to get that down below 30 and keep it below 30. So you probably ask, what's the best scenario? Um, I call it the candy bar game for these people that they put all their paychecks on that credit card like we told them, paid it down. So now they're sitting on zero. You don't want zero either. Zero is bad. I'm a math teacher, son of a banker's son. So what you want to do is tell them play the candy bar game. I used to tell them go out and get gas, but gas got expensive, so I had to change that phrase. So I tell them go buy a candy bar, wait until the due date on a credit card, and then pay that whatever it is, $3 for Snickers. Pay that off. They're going to be somewhere around 1% for the credit utilization. If they do that 2 or 3 months in a row, it's going to continue to build their FICO score.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I just told you is the last 30 days. Back on what we just were talking about, 10T, FICO 10T is not 30 days. It's looking back 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if this person consistently is maxing out their credit cards, maybe they go get a loan to pay off the credit cards, the system picks up that they're unstable with their credit cards. And that indicator alone is worth 30% of their FICO score.
Wow.
So whether they're maxed out, whether they're bad on their credit cards, or they have no credit cards, those are all three bad on that indicator. So if you go to a mortgage office, if you're working with a mortgage office that's really up to date on everything, and they've already upgraded their system, they may have them a lower score because you're seeing, oh, it looks like they've been paying their stuff, but what the part you're not seeing is they're not maintaining their credit cards correct, and they lose 30, 40%, 30, 40 points, because they're consistently raising the credit cards.
Okay. Very
So kind of in a
great info.
nutshell, I'm saying if you can help educate them to play that candy bar game, whether you call me or not, that'll get you to your goal if they're pretty close.
Hmm.
If they're a little shy on their 640 or whatever, you say, look, I don't think you need credit repair, or maybe they don't have a lot of things. And call me and I can walk you through it. But it may be just something as simple as I got to educate them on their credit card usage.
Okay.
And you can make up those points on your own. Whether we do, I'd like you to do credit repair, but if maybe your customer's scenario.
Right. So we have a question on board. The question is, and I'm reading, what about the bank that allows merchants to charge your credit card for an unavailable amount, then report to the bureau that you have overcharged your credit account, it gone over your limit?
Where you can go over your limit in a few bases. Either
So,
maybe you have a subprime card. Maybe they only have $200 secured card or something.
mhm,
It doesn't take long for them to max that out, and
mhm,
then maybe the credit card companies charge them another fee every month. Easily they could go over that. You can't change. Um, I think the current administration is trying to from charging all these extra fees on your credit cards. I'm seeing that in the news a lot lately.
mhm,
But they have the danger of them getting a subprime card, let's say a $200 secured card, is they can't spend that much money. Maybe they get a fee every month, a fee for, getting a statement or whatever. You know, that would be a good card to just buy a candy bar and just leave it, a couple of dollars. Because if they go out and get gas, go out for dinner or whatever, they're gonna end up the going over the percentage and hurting themselves on their FICO score.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, like the if the card is over limit and they should not be charged, I would say that they should not allow the merchants to charge to begin with.
Yeah,
If they're going to report it. So
I
granted
think there's
that,
some.
see, there you go.
Go ahead.
I would recommend, go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, I just this happened to me about a month ago. I had rented a car, and the rental it was budget rental. Budget 2 weeks after I returned the vehicle, budget. Of course, they had my credit card information on file, and I looked up, and my credit card had been had was like $1,300 over the limit, and I'm like, how did this happen? I don't owe them anything. So I called Navy Federal. Navy Federal says, well, once you give them authorization, okay, to use your card, your credit card, they can go back and charge whatever they want to charge on it, apparently. So, but about $1,300 wasn't available. Now, granted that I had went in to make a purchase for an amount that was not available on the credit card, the transaction would have been denied. So I'm believing that this is the same exact thing that should have happened with budget
Yep.
rental. Is it not? Isn't that how it
It,
works? Or is this something that fraudulent? Or is this just something that merchants are privy to? Does it make sense?
so some of these, it depends on it depends on what this card availability. I know what you're talking about. Um, I had a customer pay me on Cash App the other day, and almost within 30 seconds, I got a charge on my credit. I thought my balance dropped tremendous. I somehow the merchant has the ability to put that charge in some kind of pending status. And if they see the money in there or whatever, they can zap the card. Um, there are scenarios like I see it more if you put your routing number and your account number, like maybe you're on some kind of auto program, like we're all entrepreneurs. Maybe you signed up something online, your monthly service, but instead of giving them a debit card, you gave your routing number and your account number. That works a little better. Notice you pay your electric bill and it doesn't come out automatically. Um, so you pay the electric company, it doesn't come out immediately, but on Monday it's coming out, and maybe you don't have the available balance in there. You may be negative $90 to the bank because they went ahead and paid it because they have a special arrangement with Tico or whoever the electric company in that area to go ahead and honor that. Versus AT&T, I happen to know to pay the cell phone bill, they'll take it out in the same way, but they don't have the same arrangement that they're going to pay it if it sits there for the day and they do their books for the bank, and then they'll send it back to AT&T, say you didn't have enough money. So there's two scenarios, and that um in your case, it sounded like it put you over your limit because they went ahead and authorized it. And you're correct. If you went down the grocery store, and got at the terminal and got a gallon of milk or whatever, if you didn't have that money in the bank account, they would turn you down. So it's really how that card's set up, and there again, the current administration is trying to take out some of these junk fees. I think they call them junk fees. They're trying, because right now these merchant accounts mostly they've got a hold on all of us with all these fees and everything, and more so people with bad credit.
And
Uh,
that
we
and that
yeah,
but then they reported it to the credit bureau that I had what is it called? That I that I had gone over my credit limit. No, I didn't go over my credit limit. I never authorized the transaction. The money wasn't
yeah.
available. They did that. The federal allowed that. I didn't do that.
It's it's worth the conversation, calling saying I didn't authorize that, and they can either reverse it, or if it's one of these people that you're having a hard time stopping, just change your credit card. Just tell them, find that I lost my credit card, and have them send you a new number, new card, and that'll end that arrangement. Somewhere you sign something in the small print, it said that they can go ahead and charge that. But the difference of whether they paid it, if they're like a electric company, maybe they arrange that, oh, you're going to pay it no matter what, and they're going to say you're over your limit. Or versus the average merchant, the grocery store or whatever, that's not set up to let you go over your limit like that.
Okay.
But you
Oh,
have some
okay.
people, if
All right.
you got good credit, you got a card, Bank of America or something, you got $10,000 limit, they let you go over your limit, because they value, because they want your fees. And they
Right.
value you as a customer. They want you, that's why they're doing it, is because of the fees. But they recognize you're a longstanding customer. But if you're getting a subprime card like a Premier or something like that, they're not going to let you go over that limit very easily.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. So, Mr. John, now tell us, we got 15 minutes left. Uh, Tell
Mhm.
us about that. Uh, what services do you offer, real quick, and tell us a little bit more about the round that you were mentioning, round one, round two, and what services do you offer? How you can help people, your company can help people.
Okay. So you can call, the average person can call 1,000 credit repair companies in America. There's only three types of credit repair. Either I'm a what's considered a flat rate, all inclusive plan. Um, most of the people that you're going to call are a lot like your gym membership. I call them the gym membership program. Or your third option is they say you can pay based on how many deletions we get. That can get costly also. What if they're really, they get a lot of deletions, you're going to owe them a lot of money. But 98% of the companies in America is doing this residual program. What that means is um, they're, you're signing up with them to do a membership. They're maybe sending a form letter, oftentimes the same form letter for every customer. And they're sending that off to the bureau. They're not in the business to solve your credit issue overnight, or they wouldn't make any money. They're in the business to make residual income. Um, their their definition of success is how many $100 a month people can I get in the pot paying $100, and they want you to stay 2 or 3 years if they will. The reason I call that the gym membership. That's the concept behind a gym membership. Is you go to a gym, New Year's resolution, and you're going to work out. They tell you $50 a month, and of course you quit your New Year's resolution the 1st of February. You said, I'm sick of working out, and you go on and do whatever it is you want to do. And come August, you're balancing the checkbook, or your wife's balancing the checkbook, and says, hey, what's this $50 a month that's coming out every month? And then you suddenly realize you forgot all about it. You didn't call and tell them to. Supposedly, it's pretty hard to cancel a gym membership. It's similar in a membership for credit repair. They want you to forget about the thing and keep paying them $100. But each month they're sent in the term of a year. You've paid 12 times, and they've gone through your report only once, top to bottom. So I don't do that. I'm an all-inclusive plan. I I pull the whole report and I work on the whole report the very first day. I'll build like a 5, 6 page report, a novel, and I'll present that to the bureaus. The goal's to get deletions and updates based on the credit laws. I give them 45 days to get back to them. It's really 30 days once they receive it, but I give them, I count for mail and give them 45 days. And then I'll sign in that Experian profile that my customer gave me just to see where we're at, make sure we're making progress, and I'll start working on the next round. So each time's called a round. All deletions will raise the score and about half the updates do. Contractually, I do 3 rounds of credit repair. Right now, because of the economy, I'm doing 3 additional free rounds for everybody. So they're getting double the credit repair with me. From start to finish, assuming there's no delays and we stay on communication with the customer, you could be about 9 months. And the bulk of the time is waiting on the bureaus. But I want to stress to anybody that's a mortgage broker, realtor listening to the recording, or maybe um, you folks, I don't want you to. I know you're after today's money just like I am. You got a bill to pay by the end of the week. But don't let that discourage you working with a credit repair company. I've had bankruptcies deleted. I've had credit reports cleared out, and some of these have happened in the first round. So you might be only 30 days to get your customer in the house or getting them qualified, or 45 days or maybe 60 days. So don't have in your head, I'm not gonna waste my time with this guy because he's got bad credit and I don't have 9 months to invest. What if I do well the first round? You might be taking them in there to take an application for the mortgage in a much quicker time. The only thing stopping me is when they go through the mortgage process, the mortgage people are going to tell me sit on the credit repair for about 30 days while they go through the process because they don't want any uh, disputes or anything showing on there. But they still don't have that great at credit. 640 is not that great at credit. So I still need to work on a credit report. But it leases up, in 2 or 3 months, and they want that house in 2 or 3 months. So it's important you tell them, I'll do my best to get you there in the 2 or 3 months. The program's longer than that, and I'm going to work on credit, after we get you in the house. But if I know somebody's got a tight timeline, I'm changing the order of how I'm doing the rounds, but they're still getting the full three free rounds. So back on, remember I said it takes a whole year for a membership company to get through the report. In about 9 months, I've gone through the report completely 6 times. So in comparison, they'd have to be with a membership company 6 years to equal what I'm offering them in about 9 months. I don't want my credit people to sue me. So let me just say this to keep me out of lawsuit. But
Yeah.
um, membership companies work out for some people. So I'm
Hmm.
not I'm not even gonna decline. I'm not even gonna say they're bad either. There's some of my partners in the credit repair business that's doing a membership. That's how they make their money. But there are times people just maybe want you to swing the bat once or twice. They know the stipulations behind a membership company. So there are reasons somebody may want to sign it, but you as a realtor, I wouldn't invest. Me personally, I would not. This is just my personal opinion. I would send them to somebody that's going to work on the whole credit report the very first way, because you got the best options to get the scores you need.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. How will people contact you if they need your help? Name of your company website, please. And I'm gonna put it on the
My
description in the YouTube as well.
Thank you. So my direct number is and I by the way, I'm open till midnight 7 days a week. So you can come home from work and have dinner and still call me.
Hmm.
My direct number is 813-317-6776, and we'll put that down below in the recording. My company again is Elite Credit Solutions USA.com.
Okay.
And you can email me if you're a realtor, maybe you're a mortgage broker. That number I gave you is my cell phone, so you can text me if you just got a scenario you're not too sure. I'm happy to work with you. We can work together. Even if I have a lot of people call me for advice, whether I do credit repair or not. I have people call me and, hey, I'm getting ready to do this. I'm getting ready to do this, and I'll be on the phone in 15 minutes, and it's not even about credit repair. I've had people tell me they've learned more in 15 minutes talking to me on the phone than they would, because out of fairness, none of us got credit literacy in school.
Nobody
We
did.
learned
Yeah.
credit from, yeah, we learned credit from our parents. And
Mhm.
out of fairness, your parents didn't know credit literacy. So the advantage of working with me not only is my format different, and keep in mind everybody's credit is like your personal signature. So every husband and wife's credit's different. So the advantage to working with me is I'm working on the whole credit report, 15 years in the business. I'm doing good old fashioned credit repair. I don't think my job ends at just credit repair. I give them credit building, show them if it's a math equation. And told them what I'd share with you about the credit utilization. If they're missing one of the categories, I maybe give them an activity to work on while we're working on credit repair. And I give them enough financial literacy. I should want them to mess up their credit and come back and see me. But honestly, I want to give them so much information that go on to doing great things way beyond credit repair. And I'm always blessed that people call me 2 or 3 years, or I'll get a text or a picture. A guy the other day sent me a picture of his motorcycle, and I texted him back. I said, "What?" I said, "First of all, I haven't talked to you in 3 years." And I said, I hope you're well. And why'd you send me a copy of your motorcycle?" And he said, "John, I told you I was going to buy a motorcycle." And I haven't worked with him for 3 years. So
Yeah.
that was his goal. It wasn't a house, it was a motorcycle. So, people do reach back to me later and share their excitement. I get these little hey John, I just hit 750, and they're not even my customers. So I share the excitement. It doesn't just end in 9 months. These guys text me and call me long after that.
Yeah, the moment I met you first time, I knew it that you're very knowledgeable in what you're doing in credit. I said, you know what, I had to invite you over here. And I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. One question, are there any legally allowed legal tools or tricks that an average person can give a steroid shot to their credit score?
If you don't do credit repair, or maybe you don't even need a house or mortgage or whatever. You just want a little better credit. Every customer I have sign up, I sign them up for self and kickoff. Self establish, and those two collectively will fulfill four of the categories of the FICO system. I used to give them a whole, I'm sure you've been to an ice cream shop, 33 flavors or whatever, and you sit there for 20 minutes, you don't know what kind of ice cream you want. I used to give them a whole list of things to do it, but it suddenly occurred to me that there's only two things I need to have every single person sign up for. That's self and kickoff. Self is a loan product. It's easier to explain. It's a secured. It's like you pay $20 or $25, and each time you make a payment, it's going to a secured savings account. And you don't need a massive amount. Just get the lowest one, just something so you can get the payment history.
Mhm.
You're getting the age. And that's helping. After a little while, they're going to introduce you to a small secured card. Go ahead and get that secured card. But again, that's the candy bar secured card. It's not the one you take your family out to eat on.
Mhm.
Just get the candy bar, pay it off when it's due, and keep that 1-2%. And every couple of months, they're going to reward you or raise that limit. Every time they offer to raise it, raise it. The other one is Kickoff. It's a virtual credit card. You remember in the old days we used to do a secured credit card. We don't really do that anymore. Um, Kickoff has a $5 program and a $20 program. If you can afford the $20 one, that's the best one because they're going to give you a $2,500 credit line, and it's going to cost you $20 a month, and it's fulfilling that it's helping you with utilization. So even if you're new to credit, um, get that kickoff for sure, because that puts something in that bucket. If you're a seasoned pro, and you got all these, MX, and you say, "Oh, I don't need credit building," you need credit building, because what that's doing is that's giving you $2,500 uh, credit line, And if you're one of these that likes to use your credit cards, it's going to muffle your overall percentage and keep you down below. It's in turn going to help you with your FICO score. So none of my customers, whether you're brand new, 18, new to credit, or you're a pro, everyone needs those two programs. And with your permission, I'll give you a couple links we can put down below for that also.
Yes, please do that. Send me those links and I'm gonna post it uh, on the YouTube descriptions. And we're up for the time. I had a great time with you, sir, and
You too.
and
Thank
the
you.
panel, and I learned a lot. And our panelists, they asked great questions. It was
Yes, thank
meaning.
you much. It was very, very
This is a
informative.
reminder.
Thank
Time to
you.
catch the last bus.
Okay.
I'm sorry I have an Alexa.
Yes, no problem. Alexa wants you to catch the last bus.
This is a reminder. Time to
Okay.
catch the last bus.
I
All
had
right.
car problems just before
No.
Christmas, so
Yeah.
I'm taking the bus back and forth for a few weeks.
Yeah. So, no problem. Thank you so much, Mr. John. Everybody, you have a wonderful night and see you on next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, 8 p.m., we have a team. There are two partners. They're coming. They're going to, this is called, they provide resources to the real estate agent, energy concierge. They're going to talk about this chat GPT and real estate investments. So it's a great group of two partners, and they have a great product to show, and it'll be next Wednesday. You guys, thank you so much for your time. It was a great. I wish I could have sit here and do more and just, and it was very, very, very great session. And have a wonderful evening. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well,
Bye bye.
bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.